Hello, and welcome to another video. I'm Schellhaas, a fourth-year PhD student in the group of Bruno Correa at EPFL Lausanne. Today, we're going to talk about how to design protein binder structures using RFdiffusion3 at the example of 3 use cases. Our main focus will be on a simple protein target, PDL1, but we will also look at protein small molecule interface, PDF1 actinonin, and a glycosylated protein target, CD28. I'll be working directly in the bash submission files to run the commands from the RC Foundry, and we'll visualize everything live in Pymol. In case you have not yet installed the RC Foundry, I would like to refer you to the dedicated tutorial under the link below. Before going into the details of how to generate your own structure, let's briefly focus on this animation of an example diffusion trajectory against our first target PDL1. If you pay close attention to the diffusing units, you can immediately notice a difference compared to RFD3's predecessors. Instead of diffusing at the residue level, it utilizes a diffusion process over all atoms, including backbones and side chains. While the amino acid sequences generated by RFD3 do not reach the same level of sequence recovery as protein MPNN, this feature is particularly useful in the context of protein binder design, as it helps generate higher quality backbones that avoid clashes with the targets by modeling sidechain atoms from the beginning. It also allows for additional functionality, such as hydrogen bond conditioning and making more intentional contacts to non-protein entities, such as small molecules or post-translational modifications, as you will see later in the video. For now, let's jump right into it and start with the target input preparation. Specifically, we will start by trimming the target structure in order to save memory and computational cost. So, we fetch our target protein structure from the PDB using the command fetch, 8AOM in this case, and can take a first look at the target. You can notice there's lots of solvent molecules and ions, which we just remove by the command not backbone or sidechain, and we end up with our protein target alone. Next, of course, we want to remove chains that are not our protein target, so we say remove chain B. The trimming can be very target dependent, but a general rule of thumb would be that flexible ends, flexible loops not required for binding, or domains and chains that are not being targeted should be removed from the target PDB, while keeping the parts of the structure that may introduce clashes with the designed binders later on. Once we have our final minimal target structure, we need to renumber the residues so that the chain starts at residue 1. And just to be consistent with the convention from the written tutorial for this video that you can find under the link below, we rename the target as chain B. With that, our target PDB is ready to be saved. RFD3 takes as input a YAML or JSON configuration file, which defines its inference settings, and we will now construct one such file to design binders against the PDL1 structure that we just saved. It is easiest to start constructing your configuration based on a pre-existing one, such as the many examples on the RC Foundry. Naming our binder designs test, we can continue by defining the input PDB path. The config flag is where you will specify both the length of your designed binder's outputs and point to the parts of the target input file to be seen by RFdiffusion3. Following the binder chain A, target chain B convention, the config will be made up of 3 parts. First, the range of residue length for the designed binder, 55 to 88 in our case. Second, a chain break between the design and the target, /0. And third, a reference to the target chains present in the target input file B1 to 114. As length, we specify the total number of residues in the system, which equals the range of the binder length plus the target length, so in our case 169 to 202. Moving further into the binder design specific flags, we want to make sure to keep the sidechains on the target structure fixed by setting redesign motifs sidechains to false and set the origin strategy to hotspots. Depending on your specific use case, you may want to define target hotspot residues, for example in order to mimic or disrupt an existing protein-protein interaction. RFD3 allows you to specify hotspots at the atomic level as in here, but you could also set all atoms in a residue as a hotspot using the flag all, or the respective tip atom of a residue using the flag tip. Here, The hotspot definitions were derived from the PDL1 VHH interface as in the written tutorial. We found that defining several hotspots within a radial patch can lead to better outcomes and generally recommend targeting secondary structures and hydrophobic residues with few rotameric states. Finally, the select H-bond donor and select H-bond acceptor flags can be used to condition RFD3 to design binders that make hydrogen bond interactions with the specified atoms. I recommend to include these residues as hotspots just in order to increase the contact between them and the binder. With all of our input files done, we are ready to run RFD3. I will demonstrate submitting this as a bash file to which you may add a header in order to submit it on your local cluster. In file here is where we put the path to the input JSON file that we have just created. Out directory is the directory where output files will be saved. N batches and diffusion batch size will both influence how many output design structures will be generated. In particular, N batches defines the number of replicates, and higher values will generate higher diversity in the outputs. On the other hand, diffusion batch size is how many structures will be generated per batch or replicate, and while there will be less diversity between the structures generated within the same batch, setting this to higher numbers will increase overall computational efficiency. Dump trajectories determines whether a trajectory file will be saved or not. This is not necessary for production runs and will take up more space on your disk, but it can be nice for visualization and graphics. Once we have made all these changes, we will save the file and run it. While that submission is running, we can visualize some output binder structures I had previously generated in the PDL1 target. You can see that the structure that comes out of RFD3 have sidechains and sequence information, which can increase contact between binder and target while preventing clashes when the sidechain sequences gets designed by protein MPNN. While these previous examples were for a protein-only target, you can also, or especially use RFD3 to design binders when your target includes a small molecule or another non-protein molecule. In this example, which you can follow in more detail in the written tutorial, the target PDB includes the protein PDF1 in chain B and the small molecule actinidine as chain C. In the JSON input file, we can include the small molecule as chain C in our contact flag, as shown here. You will also need to include that as an extra residue in your length range. If you wish to do so, of course, you can also include the small molecule in your hotspot definition. Similarly, you might want to target a protein with post-translational modifications, such as glycosylation. This example of CD28 with multiple glycosylations follows the same logic, just with more chains defined in the contig to address all glycosylation sites. Finally, let's take a look at some of the generated structures for these more complex design tasks. In the case of CD28, steric clashes with the glycosylation sites are being avoided, and in the case of PDF1, you can see that the designed binder nicely wraps around the target ligand interface. With that, we can summarize what you have learned today. We fetched structures from the PDB, trimmed them as input for RFD3, and designed binder structures against certain hotspots on them. In upcoming videos, we'll introduce things such as enzyme design with RFD3 and much more. I hope you find this content helpful and pass it along to others as they begin exploring RFD3 for their protein binder design work as well. I also hope you enjoyed this video and want to encourage you to check out the other links in the description below or explore the Rosetta Commons YouTube channel.